Well, another episode of Embrace Your Edges. I am Hillary in Ontario, Canada, and joining me tonight is the lovely, lovely Lisa Crowel. Hello.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Hillary. How are you?
I am blessed to be breathing, girl. Okay, so remember
Awesome.
to like and subscribe to Embrace Your Edges. Keep me on the channel. I'm trying to grow my people, but at the same time, I love your support. I love your energy. And of course, we're continuing with female entrepreneurs. Tonight, we're going to be talking about property investment, property management, and having multiple businesses, including a spin class business. Ooh, I want to know about that. I am not doing a spin class. Well, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. Cause I tried before and I failed, but I'm gonna try. Because I love trying
Definitely
things.
have to try again. Try
Hey,
and try again. That's
if
the
I can do boxing and I can do you know all these different crazy fitness, I can try. And you know what, I tried it on my own, so this time I'll try it with a professional. Okay, all right,
awesome.
so we're gonna dig in, Lisa, and we're just going to introduce you a little bit. And is there anything that you want us to know right off the top?
Um, Not off the top. As we get into further questions, I'll definitely share. I'm going to be open and transparent with my story, and if anyone out there that I can help and support, I'm definitely here for it.
Okay, awesome. And Colette with Love is obviously in the chat. Oh, I'm getting a message already. Okay. I want to know everything. Uh, who's that? I want to know everything that you know. That's what.
Oh,
I don't think you can learn everything that she knows, okay? I think that you will have to, you know, take it easy and let's go through the episode, get some information out. And, we're going to talk about a little bit about Airbnbs as well. Um, and uh, Airbnbs, spin classes, running multiple businesses, how you manage that, and how you started. And I'm going to just let you introduce yourself a little bit, give a little bit of bio about yourself to the audience. Go ahead.
sure, certainly.
Yeah.
Certainly. Hi, everyone. Again, my name is Lisa Crowel, and I am a Canadian Jamaican. My parents are Jamaican born. Both of them, unfortunately, have been deceased. And I was raised in a Jamaican household, but I was the only one of four children born here in Canada. I think my entrepreneur sense and drive has come from my mom. She was always selling food. She'd go to England and buy clothes. She'd bring it back. She'd go to the States, buy clothes, bring it back, sell it to family, friends, and people in the church. So I've always seen my mom sort of doing her hustle. She
Yeah.
always worked a full-time job, but she also had a little hustle on the side.
That was the
So I
thing
do
back in
believe,
the 80s.
yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, going into the States and stuff like that. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, and bringing back, high
Mm-hmm.
fashion clothes and so forth. My mother was really into fashion. So I think with that, I'd be sitting there with my pencil and pen and, writing down, whatever money she would make and so forth. So I was always dibbling and dabbling and supporting my mom in her little business. So I always had that spirit of business due to my
Mm-hmm.
mom.
Yeah.
My mother also was a single mom of four, but she was a homeowner from
Mm-hmm.
when I was about 7 years old and continued to purchase her first townhouse. Then she purchased a semi detached and where it had an income in the basement where she had a rental property, like she could rent the basement.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing that she was able to make additional income from that, and then when we moved into a larger home, she also got the basement finished, and she was also able to rent her basement out and generate more income. So I know for a fact that I'm pretty much walking in my mother's footsteps as
Oh,
far as
I love that.
her business sense. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's just a little about me. I am also a single mom of three lovely girls who are now adults and are
Yeah.
doing their thing. I'm very proud of them. And yeah, so what for me, when I became a single mom, the first thing I groveled with was how am I going to be able to afford my home?
Mm-hmm.
My kids were brought up in the same home for 13 years. My marriage was breaking down, and all I could think of is, I do not want to uproot the kids. How am I going to make this work?
Mm-hmm.
So, it was a tough time for me. But what I would like to tell every single mom out there that may be possibly going through anything like this, talk to your bank.
Yes.
Go into your bank, especially if you've already had a mortgage and you have business with them. You know what? It does not hurt to go in there and really be honest and tell them what you're going through, because that's exactly what I did. I didn't think my income at the time would be able to warrant covering a mortgage
Mm-hmm.
and by myself. But I went into the bank and I literally sat down and expressed to them that I needed to pay out my ex-husband, and I needed to figure out how I'm going to keep this house.
Mm-hmm.
They were awesome. They said,
Wow.
we're going to make it work.
Oh,
We're
wow.
going, you guys, you've had a good standing with us. We're going to make it work. We're going to figure it out. And that they did. At the time I was young, I didn't understand much about line of credits and this,
Mm-hmm.
that, and whatnot. This was new to me, but after sitting down with an account manager,
Mm-hmm.
we were able to make everything work, and I was able to keep my house, and I lived in the same house for an additional 8 years after that.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, stay on top of your mortgage payments, have a good relationship with your bank, because you never know when they're going to be able to help and support you.
Okay.
So with that being said, the kids had outgrown the home we were living in, and I knew that the next home that I moved into, just because of thinking of my mom, I needed to be in a property that I could generate income. Anything can happen to me,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to make sure that there would be some form of income that could come in to help pay the bills. My kids
Right.
were all in, the eldest was in high school still,
Mm-hmm.
so they were still pretty young.
Mm-hmm.
So I did purchase a home with the equity from my town home, and I bought a semi-detached that had a side entrance, and that I could finish a basement.
Okay.
So that's where I went. I purchased the home. It was a new home, a new build, and the very first thing I did was get my basement done.
Okay.
I did not rent or do anything with this basement, but it had a kitchen, it had a bedroom, it had a living room, it had a bathroom, it had big windows. So I said, in the event that I needed to get some support or help with my finances to stay in this home with my girls, I could rent this basement.
So that was intentional for the way you set that up.
Absolutely.
Okay.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Very intentional. At the time when I moved, I didn't need it as income to help with the bills at the time,
Mm-hmm.
but it was there.
Mm-hmm.
So I had it there, finished and ready to go for probably about 3 years, before Airbnb sort of became very hot.
Yeah.
And I decided at that point, you know what, I'm going to fix it up. I didn't buy any new furniture or anything. I sort of just grabbed from what I had in my home and kind of made it stylish enough. And
Right.
then, but the one thing about Airbnb that is really awesome is you can set this entire business up at your kitchen table.
How?
Right?
Tell us how. Tell us how.
You're just on your phone. You go on the app.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty much step-by-step walkthrough. You're putting your photos on there. You're setting up what your home looks like what's available, what
Mm-hmm.
amenities are available for
Mm-hmm.
your guests. And it's the way I thought about it was, I'm hosting someone in my space
Mm-hmm.
that needs the space.
Right.
So, long story short, I set myself up on Airbnb, not knowing really what I was doing, or I didn't have anyone that was doing Airbnb.
Trial by error.
But I did. It was just like, I'm going to try this.
Yeah.
And honestly, it became very lucrative.
Okay.
I found that there's a lot of people, this was in 2018, mind you. There was a lot of people out there that was looking for space. People are moving away from hotels because they want to cook.
Mm-hmm.
They may be coming in from a lot of my guests were from overseas that were settling here in Canada on work permits, student visas, and they just needed a short stay.
Mm-hmm.
They just wanted to get here so they could find their more permanent space, because I set up my space for a minimum of 28 days.
Okay.
So if you wanted to spend any shorter time, my space was not for you. I
Okay.
wanted people that were coming in for no less than 28 days.
Okay. Do you find that more
So
profitable than doing the shorter terms, like 2 weeks or 1 week or whatever? Okay.
yeah, I didn't want the in and out.
Okay.
I didn't want the in and out initially when I started because I didn't know what that was going to be like. So I did do 28 days. And you set your own how much it costs per night. You put your cleaning costs on there because for every guest that comes, the one thing about Airbnb, you have to ensure that your place is impeccable.
Mm-hmm.
You keep it clean, the hygienic is important, and that you have everything that they need.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you have dishes, cups, plates, pots, dishwashing liquid.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we provided them with water. I provided them with laundry detergent, bounce,
Mm-hmm.
bleach, um, body wash, shampoo, conditioner, lotion, clean towels, clean bed, everything that they would need to come into your space. You wanted them to be comfortable and you wanted them to leave a really good review. Everything about Airbnb is leaving you a review.
A review.
I became a review. You
Okay.
want them to give you a 5 star.
Okay.
You want to hear you had great communication.
Mm-hmm.
You want to hear that your place was clean and tidy. You want to hear that there wasn't noisy. You want to hear that everything that they needed was there for them.
Oh, okay.
So with Airbnb, it was a learning experience, but I quickly understood because
Mm-hmm.
when they would check in,
Mm-hmm.
and when they check in, the goal is for me not to hear from them until they leave because
Mm-hmm.
that means they're good. So so I hosted. My overall experience with Airbnb was maybe I hosted about 18 guests
Mm-hmm.
from all over the world: Switzerland, Netherlands, India, Jamaica, the States, everywhere.
Okay.
And these were people that I felt I was able to support them to get their foot in to Canada to move on.
Oh,
I
okay.
was that first stepping stone to get them on their way.
Okay, I'm just gonna look at the chat for 1 second. I have Baby Eiffel
Certainly.
and Rudy saying hello, good night to all. Rudy says to you, good night to all. Welcome to the show, Lisa. I
Hi,
want to ask
Rudy.
you a question in regards to the Airbnb properties. I guess what inspired you was your mom by investing in the Airbnb properties and real estate. But can you share with us the key challenges that you face in the early stages of the property investment?
Certainly. So, I guess the number one key challenge is funds, right?
Okay.
To get if you own a home and you have an unfinished basement, the
Mm-hmm.
first thing you would need to do is get it done. And so, to jump forward a
Yeah.
little bit, another thing is if you currently do not have so my property was a property that was in my home,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I had a basement apartment that turned into an Airbnb.
Right.
But what I would say is when I got my basement done initially, I didn't have it as a legal basement. I
Okay.
got a contractor that came in and finished my basement. That was
Mm-hmm.
my first mistake.
Okay. Why
If
was
you
that a
have
mistake? Why was that a mistake?
I was going to say, if you have an unfinished basement,
Mm-hmm.
do it through the city.
Okay.
Pay the money, go get an architect,
Mm-hmm.
get the property done properly. Because
Mm-hmm.
what happened 6 years later is I'm doing my Airbnb business.
Mm-hmm.
It's going well.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? One of my neighbors must have checked online and says that's not a legalized basement. And then the city shut me down.
Oh.
So, yes,
Oh, that part.
yes,
Oh.
that's the part. Yes.
Oh my
So,
gosh. Woo.
so,
Mm.
yep, I got a letter from the I live in Peel area.
Did you
I
have
got
a
a letter
guess?
stating,
Did
at
you?
the time, no, I didn't.
Oh, thank goodness.
I didn't. I
Oh
did
my
not have a guess
goodness.
at the time, but I was expecting a guess.
Oh. 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 How did that
So,
conversation go?
well, what I realized was, so what the city had said was that I needed to get my basement legalized, and there was
Mm-hmm.
quite a bit of construction that needed to be done to get it to that place.
Mm-hmm.
So the guess was actually, I told them that they couldn't spend the length of time, whatever, that they could come until they could find another place. So we figured it out.
Right.
But after that, I had to shut it down
Mm-hmm.
because if you are running, once the city gets involved, if you are running an unlegalized rental or short-term space, you can be fined.
Okay.
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 So I shut it down, and then I had to get a architect to come and redesign an already fairly uh, new basement,
Mhm.
and whatever specs that was required. And again, that cost was quite extensive.
Mhm.
To redesign the basement and to get it up to par with the city probably cost me about $15,000
Oh
after already
wow.
finishing a basement that cost me 30,000 to
Oh my
finish.
goodness. So it was even cheaper to go with the city if you look at it.
It was already finished, so
Oh,
I
it was
had to
all. Oh,
knock down
okay.
walls and so forth, and put in
That's a
more.
lesson.
Yes, that was a lesson. So number one lesson: if you have an unfinished property, I recommend that you get it done the right way. Just go through the city and get yourself a legalized space.
Okay. And so wow, that's a big challenge. So how do you define investing in your own terms? Because one of the things that I like about you is that I mean, the whole investing thing with property came from your mom, and you were inspired by your mom, and you want to have that same feeling as well as satisfy that, that purpose. But how did you get into the spin class business? And how did
Oh,
you
okay.
make decisions, in terms of how to invest and why you invest in, and, what kind of practices did you look at to go into investing?
Okay. So, couple of things in regards to that. So my for me, spinning was a passion for
Okay.
me.
Okay.
That was investing in myself.
Okay.
Okay, so let's start right there.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been involved in different forms of exercise, but I went to the doctor a couple, maybe 2 years ago for my physical, and I was told I'm in good health, but need to lose weight, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it was like, okay. And I realized that, as we get older, exercise is normally not at the beginning of our forefront. Like,
Nope.
we go, but are we making any true changes? Not really.
Yeah.
So I knew I needed something that was going to keep my interest. Um, and so I joined all a spinning studio. So this
Okay.
was prior to me getting involved as an instructor. So
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. I was going several times a week. They played the music that I liked. They
Yeah.
played reggae, dancehall, Afrobeat, soca.
Oh, that's
So
fun.
you would spend, yes, you would spend 1 hour in there with, a bunch of ladies or
Mm-hmm.
sometimes some men in this one, and you didn't feel like you were actually exercising. It was just
Mm-hmm.
a good time. And
Yeah.
and I felt it helped with my not only my physical health but my mental health, and I always felt rejuvenated after a class.
Mm-hmm.
So fast forward, COVID hits and classes had to stop. Again, when went to the doctor, was told I need to get myself in shape, and I started back at another spin studio after COVID and realized I liked it very much. And the spin instructor saw my passion for it and says, why don't you get certified?
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I'm over 50.
Yeah.
Me teach these young people how to spin. Ugh. I was like, so she says, well, why don't we do this? Let's
Yeah.
train. Let's train for the next 6 months,
Mm-hmm.
see how you feel. And then if you're about it, go get your certification. So that's exactly what I did.
Okay.
That was an investment in me. I am an independent spinning instructor.
Mm-hmm.
So I now not only get paid for spinning and teaching classes,
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting paid to teach, but I'm also taking care of my wellness as well. And I'm
Yeah.
able to share my story with women that are over 40, 45, and saying, listen, if I can do it, you can do it too.
Yeah.
Um, I really am encouraging older women to get out there and exercise. It's very, very important to take care of your physical health.
Mm-hmm.
But exercise not only helps your physical health, it helps your mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? As we're getting older, we sit too much. We're eating, we're drinking, we're not doing the things that we need to do. But if you
Mm-hmm.
can get out there and take a walk, take a spin, take a swim, trust me,
Yeah.
it's the best thing that you could do for yourself. Yes.
And I
So
and I have
again, that also generates a little bit of income for me as well.
okay, and I have a question from the chat. So
Certainly.
okay, so it says here, it seems like you invest only in things that you're passionate about or have a purpose behind. Do you suggest that that's where I start?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I absolutely do. So, um, I think it gives you the drive that you need. I
Okay.
think, unfortunately, I've done other businesses. Like I said, I've been doing small businesses for many years.
Mm-hmm.
With my former spouse, we also had a small, we sold fragrant oils.
Oh.
We had flea market stall for many, many years. We had a mobile DJ business.
Oh
He
wow.
was the DJ. I was the party motivator. We used to go down to Caravan and take photos, like the little Christmas instant Polaroid pictures on that day. I've always had an entrepreneurial sort of mindset to
Yeah.
make generate a little bit of income. But I find the ones where I'm passionate about, I I can do it with ease.
With these.
I don't feel
Because it's
it's
not a
like
job, right? It's
it's
more
not a
of,
job.
yeah, it's something that
It's
you
not
just
a
love
job.
doing. And so
It's
how do you
something that I love
manage?
doing.
Yeah, how do you manage balancing multiple business ventures such as the spin class business, the real estate? You just listed a whole roof of like businesses. How do you manage that? How do you balance your work life balance as well as entrepreneurship? Because I'm an entrepreneur and I know we don't have hours. It's
Exactly.
whatever, right? So how do you?
And
Yeah, how do you
it,
manage that?
so like I said, I work full time too. I'm still working
Wow.
for the government, and I do have a full time job. I spend 3 times a week, sometimes four,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm a landlord. So
Mm-hmm.
I think what happens and what I realized over time, and it's funny because when I don't give myself enough credit. I think that's it
Yes.
too.
Yes.
And I set my business as far as my being a landlord. That's running itself. That
Mm-hmm.
passive income is just coming in because I've
Mm-hmm.
already set that up. That is good.
Mm-hmm.
I have a great tenant right now because I had an Airbnb guest turn tenant because she's here for 1 year
Mm-hmm.
on a work permit, and it just worked out that you know what. Again, my heart goes out first, and I'm like, I want to help this young lady.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give her the opportunity to stay in my space for the year that she's here as a on a work permit. So I
Mm-hmm.
am a landlord first. I check in with her all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good to have a good rapport with whoever's in your home because I'm also about energy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important to make sure that you have the right energy in your home. So
Okay.
everything for me is about being passionate.
Mm-hmm.
My spin is the same thing. I don't feel like that's a job. I
Right.
don't feel like I'm getting up to do a job. I jump up. I'm ready to go. If I miss a class, I'm depressed.
Yeah.
I love it so much. So I do believe if you're going to start a business or invest in yourself.
Yeah.
Start with yourself. Find something that you have that love and desire for because then it won't feel like a job. And then get the business sense.
Right. Right.
If you know someone that's already doing it, ask questions,
Mm-hmm.
share your story, ask what they've done because that was one thing that when I stayed in my home after my relationship broke down, I promised myself that if ever anyone asks, especially a single mom or a single dad asks, how can they stay in their home? I would share exactly how I did it.
That's amazing.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, like, okay, now we have personal life, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned your kids. Now they're grown, but still, they'll always be kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And you have your personal life and you have your family. How do you juggle all of that? Because it's time. Time is something that is not, you can't measure it, and everyone wants a piece of your time. How do you balance all of that?
So interesting that you say that because I had this thing about being busy,
Mm-hmm.
being very busy,
Okay.
not only having to work full time, take care of the kids, running a business, doing spend, but I also volunteer.
Okay.
So I was
Wow.
like literally just sort of stretching myself. And then I had to really stop myself one day and say, you know what? You can say no. That
Oh,
was my problem, saying no.
I think that's every woman's
And you know
problem.
what? Exactly. You can actually say no to things. And you
Yeah.
know what? Sitting at home and just pausing
Hmm.
on the couch. I was never a couch person,
Yeah.
but I realized I like my couch.
Yes.
I like the TV sometimes. I like to just take a minute for myself
Reality shows
and
are
maybe if I'm
okay.
even watching, yeah, the kids are fine, everybody's fed. You know
Yeah.
what? I take time for myself. I do.
That's awesome. And going back to the your tenants, how do you handle maintenance and repairs for your rental properties? And do you prefer, what kind of process do you prefer, like a team effort, or do you have like a particular contractor? Like how did you go about establishing um, that particular part of landlord?
So with the Airbnb,
Yeah.
you have the opportunity when you do your app to put a cleaning fee in there. So
Okay.
they're charged a cleaning fee. So if you want to use that cleaning fee to hire someone to come in and clean your space,
Hmm.
I think that's what people do.
Okay.
Because I live in the space,
Hmm.
my job was to make sure that I cleaned my space for my guests
Hmm.
before they got there. I would spend no less than 3 hours in getting the space between guests up to par. And that would include changing sheets, washing towels, pretty much bleaching out the place, doing the dishes, cleaning the fridge, stove, making
Hmm.
sure that the last guest didn't leave anything there.
Hmm.
I had my own personal process, and I took pride in that
Hmm.
and making sure that when that guest walked in, they were coming into a pristine space.
And did you ever have a situation where something broke and you had to get it maintenance? Like how did you how did that happen? Well,
Yeah, well,
tell me it's a
I had an
story.
honest guest. I had a very honest guest.
Yeah.
I didn't have too many broken things, but when you are doing Airbnb, I suggest you minimalize your products in your home. Don't put expensive things in there, right?
Right,
So you
right.
don't put vases or whatever. Keep it clean, keep it neat, keep it minimal. But I did have a guest, a young man from Scotland who was here to also on a
You like
work
the
permit.
Scots. Yeah.
Yeah, very nice young man, but he broke the lever to my window.
Ooh.
So with the I had the big Idris windows where if we had a fire you can go through them. But I don't know
Hmm.
what he did, but I know that they were pretty fragile type of handles anyway. But
Hmm.
he was honest.
Yeah.
He said that he broke the handle and offered to pay to have it fixed and so forth. And also in Airbnb there is a security fee that comes that if they are to lose your remote or break dishes or break handles, you can actually submit a claim for your damage.
Oh, okay. And I have a two-part question. What amenities do you think are necessary for Airbnb? Like these are the must-haves. And have you ever encountered any challenges as being a landlord or an Airbnb host? Have you that you had to address?
I think one of the things that are must-haves for Airbnb is keeping your space separate from yours. So
Okay.
I think having a side entrance or an entrance for your guests so it
Mhm.
doesn't impose on your space.
Mhm.
Also offering internet, I think it's you can or you can't, but I think especially when you have guests that are out of town,
Mhm.
it's a nicety to offer them free Wi-Fi
Right.
so they can come, they can get settled, they can reach out to their family members, they can start making the calls that they need and jump on their laptops and whatever they need to do to start their journey in Canada or whatever they're going to be doing. Um, Again, Airbnb guests, they choose Airbnb over hotel stays because they like the idea of coming in, they can cook, a
Mhm.
stove, a microwave, a fridge, right?
Mhm.
That they can come in. And so you need to make sure that your space, your kitchen is stocked with everything that they would need to be able to make some pasta, maybe make some ground meat. I provided a coffee machine with some creamer, sugar, whatever,
Mhm.
just so when they come, there's something that they can drink that's hot until they get themselves some settled. I also had in my Airbnb a post on the fridge. This where the Walmart was, where the Shoppers
Oh,
Drug
that's
Mart
nice.
was, how
Yeah.
far they were. where the banks were. You can use Uber, Uber Eats, where how far the bus stop was if they wanted to use public transportation,
Mm-hmm.
where the mall was. So providing a list, and then also my contact information if they had any questions.
Mm-hmm.
I was able. I also provided them with all the transit maps, Mississauga, Brampton, and Toronto.
Wow.
I just left it on the table, and then anywhere like sightseeing if they wanted to do anything, the
Yeah.
ROM, Niagara Falls, and so forth. I also left them with some pamphlets that if they wanted to check that out as well.
That's awesome. I like that.
Yeah.
And what can you describe a significant turning point? Like, where was this turning point in your or breakthrough moment in your entrepreneurial journey? Like, you go, "Whoa, I'm doing it. This is it." What happened? What was? Tell me the story behind that moment.
Uh, like I said before, Hillary, I don't think I have given myself a lot of credit because
Yeah.
I don't give myself a lot of like, oh, Lisa's doing this or she's an entrepreneur. It's because I grew up in that space.
Yeah.
I grew up watching a mom that was her survival. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't she was an entrepreneur. I didn't think of her
Yeah.
as a business person. I just thought of my mom being a survivor and doing what she needed to do to survive with us. So for myself, I think my turning point was when the city had come in on me and said, "Hey, we're shutting you down."
Yeah.
And then I quickly thought to myself, "Well, you're not shutting me down for long." Now became a contractor,
Mm-hmm.
and I did my own contract, getting my own electricians in, my own HVACs in. I had to get my own window guy in. I had to get a contract in to put the holes back, put new drywall. I had to get the bath. I became that person, and I
Yeah.
did it it was about a year that it took me to renovate my basement again.
Yeah.
But then afterwards, that's when I felt like I did that.
Yeah.
I did that. And when I go down and I look at the finished product, I was like, I did this.
Yeah.
I did this by myself.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized, like, Lisa, you're a business person. You are
Yeah.
completely a business person. That gift of gab is there. You know what to do. You know what to say. And you're generating an income that is helping to support not just you, but also your lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's when I kind of said, girl, you hats off to you. You're doing good.
One of the
I
things.
never really pat
Yeah.
myself on my shoulder before,
But this.
but all of a sudden I felt like, wow.
Listen, this is the thing that women especially don't do is, they celebrate what they do, but they don't celebrate it loud. And it's that modesty, and also to be an entrepreneur, it's more of you. Okay, I gotta do the next. I gotta do. There's still more to do, right? But
Yeah.
you have to celebrate those because they're phenomenal. When you reached out to me, I was like, what? When did you do this? I had no clue. So
And a lot of people don't.
yeah.
A lot of people do
And
not
I
know.
said to you, I said,
Because I
you
don't
got,
share.
yeah, I
don't
said,
really share.
why not? You got to let people know, and,
Yeah.
and you never know who you're inspiring. I'm pretty sure there are people
Exactly.
watching right now that are like, oh, I'm a single mom, or I wanted to do that, or I always wanted to do that, and I didn't know what step it is. You probably just saved a lot of people with the whole basement thing about the city girl.
Yeah.
You probably
Get
save
it
a lot of money
legalized,
right there.
trust me.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
a lot of people say, "Oh,
absolutely.
my cousin's a contractor; he can do it."
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it with
Don't do
family.
it.
Don't do it family.
I'm just gonna read a little bit of.
Contractors and make.
Yeah, I'm gonna read a little bit of the chat. It says here, unfinished basement property, go through the city first. Lisa, that's amazing. Invest in yourself. Find your passion. So, what are some of the common misconceptions about owning and managing an Airbnb property?
That you don't have to put any effort into it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a misconception. I think you have to put a lot of effort into it
Mm-hmm.
because, like I said, people refer you. You are rated. If you do not take care of your space, someone's going to note that.
Right.
There's 5 stars. They will give you a 1 star. They will
Mm-hmm.
give you, and then one of my guests, she said to me, your space was not the cheapest. She says, but what you had was a 5-star rating. So I could see the referrals from your past guests, and they made you sound wonderful. They made your space sound wonderful. We wanted wonderful.
Yeah.
So it's not about being cheap. It's also knowing your worth when you put your space up there.
Mm-hmm.
You don't always have to be competitive. You don't always have to be in comparison with others. Um, and just make sure that you keep your space up and you are comfortable with whatever price you put on there.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Sometimes you're going to have some dry spells where you don't have anybody booking your space.
Yeah,
and that's okay.
that right there? How do you manage that? Because I've heard so many people be, afraid of that. I'm going to invest in, have this investment in Airbnb. What about the down seasons? How do I compensate for that? What is the trick, or what is the FYI? Tell us all.
I don't know if there is a trick with Airbnb. There's high seasons and there's low seasons.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think the trick is you better save your money. You better save your money, and if your Airbnb should not be your should not be the money that you're using to take care of your priority bills.
Okay.
This is put money back into your business. It will work for you because
Mm-hmm.
there's during the high season you can generate pretty much as much money that you would make for the entire year.
Okay.
In your high season.
Okay.
So you need to make sure that you buckle down and save your money, or make sure you are investing it some way, somehow. But you have to prepare that there are going to be times when, you know what, you're going to be looking at that calendar and no one's booking your space.
Okay.
But that money does not pay your mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
You need to definitely have something else going on.
Yeah.
For sure.
And, people are people and things happen. Do you ever have any kind of concern about who's coming into the Airbnb? Or how do you manage, how do you navigate that?
So, like I said, the Airbnb app is awesome. You can set it up where, you know what, you don't ever see a guest. You don't have to vet them. They can pretty much see that your space is open and they can book.
Mm-hmm.
So that is direct, straight booking.
Mm-hmm.
I've never done that.
Mm-hmm.
Every single guest that I've ever had, we've had a chat conversation. My questions were, how many people are coming? What's the purpose of your visit? Do you own a vehicle? What size vehicle? How long is your stay? Like, I vetted my guests because there was many guests that I said no to.
Okay.
I definitely did.
Okay.
My space was a 1-bedroom
Mm-hmm.
apartment.
Mm-hmm.
So you coming with mom, dad, husband, wife, and a child, that's not the space for you.
Right.
Okay, so people try to get over on that. So for me, it was very important to vet my guests. A lot of people don't, and whoever comes, and the money's paid through Airbnb, so you get your money, but you also get 6 people in your space that is made for maximum of 3.
And I know sometimes they have like Airbnb parties, or they want to rent out your house or whatever. Is there some kind of protection for that, or it's you get
That
to?
was another reason why
Okay.
I did 28 days.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So if you're
to avoid
renting,
that.
if you want to rent your space for the weekend,
Uh-huh.
you can expect that there are clauses now that they vet also.
Mm-hmm.
Airbnb looks for people that have parties in your home.
Mm-hmm.
But again, you can ask the question, and if you notice that there are parties, you can shut it down, because you can also say, I don't want any parties here. You can't sublet my space. A maximum number of people there. If there's more people there, you can charge more
Mm-hmm.
for the Airbnb space. So they have a lot of restrictions that you can actually pose for your space.
Okay.
No Airbnb is the same as far
Right.
as restrictions and requirements.
Okay. Oh. Uh-oh. What happened? Oh dear, we lost the feed. Okay, we are going to try to get this back up. I'm not sure what happened there. Oh, let me try to do some magic live. I am not sure what happened. She went bye-bye. Let's try this again. Wow. Okay, I'm not sure what happened. Collect with love. Can you give me some help here? Colette, I need to get back into the room. That is wow. I just got knocked all the way off. Colette, can you get me back into the room? I do not know what happened. We're still live, and Lisa, if you can hear me, come back to the same link. I'm not sure what happened, but it seemed to have kicked you off. So just come back into the room. Colette, you want to call her and have her come back into the room? That is weird. It's so interesting how it's two people here, but okay, you'll get her. Okay, thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna go back through some of what some of what Lisa was sharing before we got kicked off, and so Lisa shared that one of the most important things that you have to do is to make sure that you know meet with your city and have them, you know, use a architecture to deal with your unfinished property. Go through the city first because it's going to cost you in the long run. And then she said, make sure that you invest in yourself. Find your passion and whatever your passion is. You know how I feel about passion now. So find that passion and your purpose and bring it together into in your investment. And when it comes to Airbnbs, you know exactly what you're getting into. She said that long term renting was better than short term. So Lisa does 28 days for her property, and it seems to do much better. We're trying to get her back on the line. I'm not sure what happened there. If you have any questions for Lisa, you can check her out on her Instagram page. That is Lisa, LISSACROW. And you can find her on Instagram. You can also find her when it comes to spin classes. She's going to tell us a little bit more about that when she comes back. I get her back into the room. And she said, find your passion, know what your passion is. Rudy said, do you know what you're doing? I know what I'm doing, Rudy. You always have something to say. You know, Rudy, I want to have you back on the show to talk a little bit about your investment, okay? Because you always got something to say. But I'm not sure what happened to Lisa's feed. But Colette, what did she say? Is she coming back? Nothing? Uh-oh. So I'm not sure what happened to Lisa. Uh, Lisa, I hope you do come back to the platform. Again, you can check out Lisa on Instagram at Lisa, LISSACROW. If you want to, you know, hit her up for her Airbnb. Each one of us have to find our own niche. That is true. Oh, here she is. Yes, thank goodness. I was trying to stretch as much as possible, but girl, I don't know what happened. It just kicked us out. Hold on, let me just make sure I
Yeah,
pin you
so
up. Yeah, it just kicked us out completely. But where we were talking about the misconceptions behind owning and managing Airbnb properties. So take it away from there.
yeah, so I was just mentioning that that it's really important to take care of your space
Yeah.
um, because of the rating that you can. It's referrals and ratings. So if you
Mm-hmm.
don't take care of your space and you're rated a low rating, people will not use your space because at the end of the day, they want to know that they're in a safe, clean
Right.
environment. So I was mentioning that I had a guest once that stayed with me for
Mm-hmm.
28 days. She says you were not the cheapest
Mm-hmm.
space per night, but your ratings were a 5 star. We could see what people wrote about you and your space, and we went with the rating over cost.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just looking at the chat. Rudy's being Rudy. So, and then we started talking a little bit about people, because people are people, and your safety is also important, and also it's your property that you're investing in. It's a lot of money, especially the fact that you talked about the whole architecture thing. That's a lot of money. So, and you mentioned that you have conversation with these guests before starting. And you always start with 28 days. So Rudy just put up something here. So Baby Eiffel says each one of us have to find our own niche. Glad for you, Lisa. Rudy said I am not talking about my place in Dominican Republic. Nobody asked you what Dominican Republic.
Okay.
I'm not talking about it. I just mentioned it. Anyways, so how do you handle setbacks and failures? Because you talk about, the whole having to get the city involved, and what lessons have you learned outside of the one dealing with the city? Is there another lesson that you think that an investor should know?
I think learn and ask questions from people that have already gone through
Mm-hmm.
the experience of doing contract work, especially in your home. Um, there's nothing like a second opinion. There's
Mm-hmm.
nothing like getting a second quote. There's nothing like getting a third quote.
Yeah. Right.
You'd be amazed that you're asking to do one particular job and you're getting three different prices.
Mm-hmm.
Go with don't go with that family friend. Go with
Yeah.
certified electricians, go with certified plumbers,
Yeah.
because you may end up paying less that will cost you a lot
A
more.
lot more.
So, a lot more. So, I would definitely don't try to cut corners when it comes to your property. Invest in your property, because at the end of the day, it is your property and you will make more when you try to sell your home if you do everything on the up and up and keep it pristine.
Okay. And can you discuss a unique marketing strategy that has been particularly effective for you for the spin class as well as for the property managed investment? Because, Airbnb, there's a lot of apartments out there, a lot of different things. How do you do it? Like, what's your strategy?
For Airbnb, because they have their own platform, it's important to take really good photos.
Okay.
I think that is your marketing strategy right there. You're making sure that you have good photos and that again your place is welcoming.
Mm-hmm.
It has everything that is required. You know that your tagline is,
Right.
you know, nice, clean, comfy space for you.
Yeah.
With a warm host to be, to greet you, whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
But sell yourself, sell your property, and make sure that you have really great photos. With spinning, funny enough, it's all about social media.
Mm-hmm.
Instagram is the number one platform that is used to get that out. WhatsApp. You can also WhatsApp a bunch of your girlfriends saying, "Hey, I'm having a class. Come check it out." And also, don't be afraid to give away a free class.
Okay.
Your first class is on me.
Yeah.
Come and check it out. I wouldn't want you to invest any particular money into something and then you can't come back because you don't like it or whatever. Come and take a free class on me, definitely.
I have a question for you in the chat. Lisa, have you ever stayed in an Airbnb outside of your hometown?
Yes, I have, absolutely. I stayed in Atlanta.
You know who that
I
came
stayed
from? It came from Rudy because he got one in DR. So I think that was a sales pitch.
That's funny.
So where did you
I've been
stay?
to DR, but
Yeah.
I stayed in Airbnb in a couple in the U.S.
In the U.S., yeah, I have done a couple of that in the U.S. as well. And
Yeah.
so let's talk about the spinning class a little bit. Where can we find you? Like, how can we get in contact with you to go? Because I'm telling you, I went onto your Instagram page and I saw it and I followed the link to the business and I was like, woo, it is so much fun. It looks like so much
It is.
fun. And there are other
It is.
parts of the business there too, but I mean, it really looks, I was like, is that Lisa? You were going, girl. Like, I was like, okay. Can I?
Okay.
And
Um,
I saw every body type. I saw every age group. It was amazing.
every
Yeah.
and every culture.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very diverse.
Yeah.
in the classes. So we are at RGS in Brampton.
Mhm.
It's Arenda and Dixie. It's called RGX. It's an all women's club at the time. It's ladies only.
Mhm.
However, we do have sometimes special events where we'll open it to everyone. But you can go on the website and check out when the class times are. And like I said, if you want to come out and check it out, the first week is free. So you can come
Nice.
to a week of classes to see if you like it before you actually need to purchase a package.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to check it out. Not because it's free, but because I always wanted to try.
No, no,
I
no,
did
for sure.
CrossFit. I love CrossFit. I actually do that in my basement now, but I love CrossFit.
Awesome.
So I'm going to
Yep.
try it and see. So how do you evaluate risk, and reward when investing? How do you stay true to your personal investment philosophy?
So, besides um, Airbnb and I also do a little bit of investing, and I think if when you're doing that for maximum return, you have to do maximum risk. That's
Okay.
sort of
Yes.
the premise of investing. And I was very scared of doing any form of maximum anything and taking any risk of anything because I don't have a lot of everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
but I think you need to have knowledge. You need to speak to people, talk to people that are already in the business and that are
Mm-hmm.
doing well. Surround yourself with information. Look it up. Like you can go on. We are so fortunate to have Google, and you can get a lot of information there. It's not like back in the day when my mom used to buy the encyclopedias from A to N, and we never got the rest. Like anything now, you can just go on
Yeah.
Google and get more information about what works for you. And but again, definitely speak to people. That would be the best
Oh, okay.
um, bit of information I would give.
And hey, being a woman of color as well as being a woman and an entrepreneur, what kind of challenges have you found and what kind of successes, or there are pros and cons to everything. So what are some of the pros and cons of that, and how have you handled that?
um, well, it's interesting. Um, I guess I don't really think of it as a challenge per se. My being a woman, or being a woman of color, because I'm gonna go. My mother used to say this thing: the worst thing anyone can say to you is no.
There you go.
So when I went into that bank that first time and
Yeah.
thinking, what, I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep a home because
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a lot of income. I already had in my head the worst thing they can say to me is no. And
Right.
that's okay because I'm going to try again.
Yeah.
I'm going to look for another avenue. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to probably hear some no's, but I
Yes.
have a feeling I'll definitely hear a yes. So, I wouldn't let color, race, woman, man, whatever it is, stop you. Just keep on trying. Keep knocking on all those doors until they open one.
Yes, I love that answer. And you know what they say? Babe Ruth had a thousand misses and 100 hits, and we only remember the hits, right?
Exactly.
Okay,
100%.
that's right. And we're getting close to the hour here, but so I want to ask you two more questions.
Certainly.
Your role in the community, so community support. How does that play a part in your business venture, and how do you give back to the community? Because I know you
As
said you
far
volunteer
as
a little bit there, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm also a member and a volunteer at the JCA, the Jamaican Canadian Association. So I give
Okay.
my time there. How it helps me is I think with the JCA, a lot of people see that space as a space for parties and so forth. They
Mm-hmm.
have a full board of directors. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of the people that support the JCA are educated Jamaicans or Caribbeans
Mm-hmm.
that come there with their wealth of knowledge, who shares, who are strategic in planning different events. So I've also surrounded myself with a lot of people that do business,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not afraid to ask questions, or give information as well. So I think that has been really a pivotal spot for me to be able to speak to people in regards to how do they run their business. I've met people that have had Airbnbs, and I've asked them for their, tell me some tricks and tips on what you've done and so
Mhm.
forth. So it's all been trial and error with everything, but at the end of the day, you do finally get it. You do finally get it.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm loving the conversation. I can go on and on and on. Um, is there one advice that you can give a new entrepreneur or a new person starting out in this business? What is the one advice that you would, you know, to keep them on their path and to get them into that mindset and unique vision and circumstances around investing in this? What is that particular advice that you want them to reflect on?
If you own a home, let your property work for you.
Okay.
If you have access to any form of line of credit, especially when you own a home, I'm sorry to say, a fancy car is not everything. Fix up your home,
Yeah.
get that basement done, make sure that it can generate some income. Once you're all set, then you know what, you can get all the fancy things that you need. But if you have a home, let your home generate more income, um, fix it up, do home improvements. So even when you're ready to sell it, that you don't have to spend all that money that you may even make from the home
Hmm.
to make it nice and pretty. Every year put a little something in. Every single year I put one thing into my home.
Wow.
I always do, just to, whether it's a paint job or you know, take up carpet or whatever, but just
Hmm.
one thing to just keep the house looking good. So at the end of the day, when it's time to sell it, you'll be able to maximize what you need to get for your home.
Oh, okay. Well, with
So
that,
invest in your home.
yeah, thank you so much, Lisa. You're amazing entrepreneur, entrepreneur. I mean, you have multiple businesses that you have going. You've done so much, and you give back to the community as well. Remember to get that FYI from the city. That's all I heard. The city.
That's it.
That's
Don't
money.
don't don't
Okay.
don't
Don't do the
get
whole.
your
My
plans
cousin.
legalized. Don't let Uncle Joe come over and
Don't let
do the
Uncle Joe come
plumbing.
over. No, send Uncle Joe to the club.
Yep, yep, yep.
Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing all of your inspiration and information. It was really great. If you want to check out Lisa's page on Instagram, you can find her at Lisa LISSACROW, and that is on Insta. You can go there and book your 28-day or more stay. And no party, no party happening.
Yep.
And as well, if you want to check her out at her spin class, we're gonna drop that information on our board as well. And Lisa, again, thank you so much. Thank you to
Thank
all.
you,
You're
Hillary.
welcome. Thank you to everyone that is in the chat tonight, Rudy and Baby Eiffel, for asking some really great questions, and for everyone that was on the WhatsApp channel that also asked me some personal questions as well. Some other ones I didn't even say because no. You mentioned you were single. So I love those off. I love those off. But again, thank you. Again, we will see you next week. I will be back on Wednesdays. This was a special night for Lisa, so that because she does our spin classes on Wednesdays, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I do. Yes,
Yeah,
I do.
so we did especially so that we can get this information. I am very, truly thankful, and I love you for the
Thank
bottom
you,
of
and
my heart.
thank you, and I appreciate you having me. I feel very honored, and
Oh,
I love what you're doing.
oh,
And this
thanks.
is a great platform.
Oh,
Keep
thank
up
you.
the
Oh,
great work.
I
God
appreciate you.
bless you.
Oh, God bless you too.
Oh,
Thank you so much. Good night, everyone, and we will see you next Wednesday, 8 p.m. on YouTube live streaming. Join me, Collect with Love, and our next entrepreneur. Take care.
all
Bye.
right. Take care. All the best. Bye.
Bye.